Hey, it's Edge here. Today we're taking a look at technical analysis for meta platforms. I'll cover wave analysis with Elliott Wave Theory and provide multiple scenarios the price may take and explain why I prefer one count over another. Let's take a look at the different possibilities. Starting here on weekly time frame, looking at the macro picture first, which we have covered before, but again, just to get our standing here, is that we had this as a potential 1-2-1-2. I know this wave 1 here is larger than the higher degree wave structure here, so there is a possibility where we would have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 into a wave 1 of primary as well up in here, and then we would have some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the third one there. So this is just fine as labeling it like so here. Again, we don't really have a good looking retracement here, only around 25%. Here it was just a bit larger, 30%, but yeah, either one works. The idea is that we are creating some kind of third here, fourth and then fifth. The bad thing about this whole count is that we have had these highest RSI readings at the very start of this whole thing. Third surely does have divergence against these fifths here, so that is still fine and dandy, but again, it is not the perfect look, I guess. But again, we've gone through this before, and the idea is that we would be looking to correct downwards for that wave 2 of cycle before getting up higher. At the moment, if we are taking out the lows here at around $18, then we don't have anything on this anymore, and it's going to be very open. But again, that is going to be taking another 84% on price for that to happen, and I don't see that happening. So again, we don't need to be worrying about that right now. Going back to the daily time frame here and checking out the count that we had before, where we had this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 as a triangle here, and then looking for that last fifth. Last time when we were covering this, I think we were around somewhere in here, where we had the idea of this being a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then looking for downwards for more structures to happen. Again, I was not too confident on this because again, the retracements here for these possible wave 2s were very high here, and also let's actually zoom in a bit more, and yeah, that was basically it. And we surely could label these as 5 waves, but again, they were not perfect. For example, this wave 1 here, there is definitely ways to label this in other ways as well. Again, it is not really perfect looking at all. I do think that we have to be labeling like that instead and have this as some kind of expanded structure into that way too instead. There is definitely a possibility where this wave 2 here would be instead in here, and we would have some kind of 3-way, 3-wave and 3-way structure here, creating a bit larger wave 2 here of this minor or yellow count. So that would eliminate basically one of the degrees here. At that point, again, we would already have the bottom in here, which would again make that this would be the 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 of this degree. So at the moment, however, I do think that this looks a bit better for time being. If we are going to be taking out the highs here of this previous wave 4, then I'm going to be starting to question this count a bit more. Again, the 0.5 would be also taken out, so this is the target area. 38.2 is one of the main targets here. Again, we would be around this fair value gap getting filled as well, and this, however, does seem quite impulsive from the lows. We could have this as a 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We do have that divergence at the very end, which wouldn't be really typical for any 3-way move. So that's why I do think that we are going to be having some kind of partner leg later on for this one. I do hope that we are going to be coming down a bit more than the current structure. We have only retraced like the less than 38.2, so I do think that we are taking out these lows at some point, hopefully sooner than later, creating something like this and getting some kind of long position open again here for that another wave structure upwards. At that point, again, I would be looking for this as that wave 4 and then looking for another wave 5 possibly coming in later, and that would again mean that this would be the fifth, completing this whole thing and completing a first part of this whole correction. Again, unfortunately, as this has 5-way move, this means that this would be either the A wave or the wave 1. And then we would be getting a 3-way pullback for a wave B or wave 2, and then another continuation of 5 waves to the downside. And again, that would be very bearish. At the moment, I feel like that looks better as a 5-way structure than a 3-way structure. So that's that. Discounts basically explained. The other scenario here is that we already have had this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This is of course possible as well. This would bring us to another wave A here already made. The reason I don't like to see or like to say that we have completed this whole correction yet is because we still have this divergence here on the lows against these lows of that third of A. So generally when we have a 3-way structure complete, we don't have a divergence at the low anymore against the pivot. So this would be the pivot here. So we wouldn't have that divergence here. So that's why I don't think it is done, if this is again the count at all. The bad thing about this is that wave B is so small here that it just doesn't give us very good probabilities that this is a right count. Again, I would only look at this count if on daily we took out these lows here on RSI around 21.7. Of course, we could be setting alerts here, taking out these lows here, and at that point again we would be looking for more bearish action again, at least making one more low. But yeah, I think on both of these counts the expectation is at least one more low here locally. On this one again we would be expecting, or I guess on both we would be expecting one more high here before that drop down. And of course there is definitely a possibility of going long here. There is definitely money to be made here as well on the long side before another possible drop downwards, but we'll see how that turns out. I think that is pretty much again the scenarios I wanted to present to you on Meta. If you made it this far into the video, I would appreciate the likes. Link to my free Discord server in the description below, and for now I thank you for watching and hope you have an amazing rest of your day. See you in the next video. Bye bye.